Is that my wife?
She's still barren, husband mocks ex-wife, unaware she's with twins for the president. Distinguished viewers, welcome to Luxury True Life Stories. Please like and subscribe for more amazing real-life luxury stories. Now, let's get into the story. Sophia Donovan lived a quiet life in a peaceful coastal town with her widowed father, Thomas Donovan, a former literature teacher who raised her after her mother passed away years earlier. Their small home was simple but filled with books and warmth. Sophia worked at a cozy bookstore cafe called Harbor Pages, where she spent most of her time arranging novels, serving coffee, and speaking kindly with customers. Sophia was known for her gentle heart and thoughtful nature. She loved reading and often spent evenings discussing literature and life with her father. Her closest friend, Lily Hart, a hard-working medical student, always encouraged Sophia to believe in her dreams of helping others and building something meaningful for people in need. Although her life was modest, Sophia carried quiet ambition within her. She hoped one day to create a foundation that would support abandoned children and give them opportunities she never had. For now, she focused on working hard, caring for her father, and believing that life still had something extraordinary waiting for her. Michael Dawson lived in a world completely different from Sophia's. As the only son of Richard Dawson, founder of the powerful corporation Dawson Holdings, Michael had grown up surrounded by wealth, influence, and expectations. The Dawson family owned luxury estates, business towers, and investments across several industries. From a young age, Michael had been trained to become the future leader of the company. His mother, Helena Dawson, was a strict and highly ambitious woman who constantly reminded him that the Dawson name represented power, legacy, and prestige. Michael was intelligent, confident, and known in elite circles as one of the most successful young businessmen in the country. By his early 30s, he had already expanded Dawson Holdings into new financial markets and earned the admiration of investors and political leaders. Yet beneath his polished public image was a man shaped by pressure. Helena constantly spoke about the importance of continuing the Dawson bloodline, and Michael believed that building a powerful family legacy was as important as building a successful company. Despite his wealth and influence, Michael's life often felt calculated and structured. Most of his relationships were based on business interests rather than genuine connection. His closest companion was Victor Hale, the company's sharp and loyal legal advisor who had known Michael since university. Victor often joked that Michael needed to experience life outside corporate boardrooms. Michael laughed it off, unaware that his carefully controlled world would soon change in a way he never expected. One Saturday afternoon, Harbor Pages hosted a small charity literacy event organized by Sophia and Mrs. Eleanor Whitmore. The goal was simple: to collect books and donations for children in nearby shelters who had limited access to education. Sophia had spent the entire morning arranging tables of donated novels, children's stories, and notebooks while volunteers prepared warm drinks for visitors. The cozy bookstore buzzed with quiet excitement as people arrived to support the cause. Among the unexpected guests was Michael Dawson. He had not planned to attend such a modest event, but his company had recently begun supporting educational charities, and his assistant suggested he make a brief appearance. When Michael stepped into the bookstore, the calm atmosphere immediately caught his attention. It was a stark contrast to the busy corporate towers he spent most of his days in. As he looked around the room, his eyes settled on Sophia, who was helping a group of children choose books while patiently explaining why stories could open doors to new worlds. Their first conversation was simple but memorable. Sophia thanked him for coming and spoke passionately about how access to books could change a child's future. Michael found himself intrigued by her sincerity and intelligence. Unlike the people he usually met at business events, Sophia spoke with genuine purpose rather than ambition. When he left Harbor Pages that evening, Michael realized something unusual. He was still thinking about the quiet woman who believed books could change the world. After the charity event, Michael found himself thinking about Sophia more often than he expected. A few days later, he returned to Harbour Pages under the simple excuse of purchasing a book. Sophia was surprised to see him again, but she welcomed him politely. Their conversation that afternoon lasted far longer than either of them planned. They spoke about literature, life goals, and the different paths they had taken growing up. Michael was fascinated by Sophia's perspective on life, while Sophia was surprised to discover that beneath Michael's confident exterior was a thoughtful man who enjoyed meaningful discussions. Over the following weeks, Michael continued visiting the bookstore. Sometimes he brought coffee, other times he simply stopped by to talk. Gradually, their casual meetings turned into planned dinners and quiet walks along the waterfront near Sophia's home. Sophia introduced Michael to her father, Thomas Donovan, who appreciated Michael's respect and intelligence. Though Thomas noticed the obvious differences between their worlds, he also saw that Michael genuinely cared about his daughter. Their connection deepened naturally. Sophia admired Michael's determination and ability to lead, while Michael admired Sophia's kindness and simplicity. For the first time in many years, Michael felt relaxed outside the demanding expectations of his family and business empire. Sophia, on the other hand, began to believe that love could truly bridge the distance between two completely different lives. Neither of them realized that their growing happiness would soon face pressures far greater than they imagined. As months passed, Michael and Sophia's relationship grew stronger. Michael began introducing Sophia to parts of his world, formal dinners, business gatherings, and social events attended by influential figures. At first, Sophia felt out of place among the polished conversations and expensive surroundings, but Michael reassured her that none of that mattered to him. What he admired most was her sincerity and the calm happiness she brought into his busy life. Eventually, Michael made a decision that surprised many people in his circle. He proposed to Sophia. The wedding quickly became one of the most talked about events in the city. It was held in an elegant venue surrounded by gardens and lights, attended by business leaders, politicians, and social elites. Sophia's father, Thomas Donovan, walked her down the aisle with quiet pride in his eyes. Though the celebration was grand, Sophia's emotions were simple. She believed she was beginning a beautiful new chapter with the man she loved. Michael promised to always stand beside her, and for that moment, everything felt perfect. However, not everyone welcomed Sophia into the Dawson family with warmth. Michael's mother, Helena Dawson, maintained a polite smile during the ceremony, but privately questioned whether Sophia truly belonged in their powerful family. Helena valued reputation, status, and legacy above all else. While the wedding guests celebrated the new couple, Helena's thoughts were already focused on one expectation she believed was essential for the Dawson name to continue: an heir. Sophia had no idea that this quiet expectation would soon grow into the greatest challenge of her marriage. After the wedding, Sophia moved into the grand Dawson family mansion with Michael. The house was far larger than anything she had ever lived in, with tall glass windows, polished marble floors, and a quiet staff that maintained every corner of the estate. At first, Sophia tried to adjust to her new life with optimism. She decorated small parts of the home with books and flowers, hoping to bring warmth into the elegant but distant environment. Michael was busy managing Dawson Holdings most days, but in the evenings he would sometimes sit with her and talk about their future. However, life inside the Dawson family came with expectations Sophia had never imagined. Helena Dawson often invited important guests and relatives for formal dinners where conversation always circled around legacy and family reputation. During these gatherings, Helena would occasionally ask subtle questions about when Sophia and Michael planned to have children. At first, the comments seemed harmless, but the repeated questions slowly created pressure that Sophia began to notice. She smiled politely and answered calmly, believing that children would come naturally in time. Michael initially ignored his mother's remarks, but Helena continued reminding him that the Dawson family needed a strong heir to continue their legacy. Over time, these conversations began influencing Michael's thoughts more than he realized. What had once been a loving marriage slowly became surrounded by expectations and quiet tension. Sophia sensed the change but remained hopeful that their love would remain strong. She still believed that patience and understanding could overcome any challenge. Unfortunately, rumors and misunderstandings were already beginning to form beyond the walls of the Dawson mansion. Months passed after the wedding, and Sophia and Michael continued living under the watchful eyes of the Dawson family and their elite social circle. At first, everything seemed calm, but the absence of news about a pregnancy slowly became a topic of quiet conversation among Helena Dawson's friends. At elegant charity luncheons and high society gatherings, whispers began to circulate. Some women subtly questioned why the Dawson family still had no heir. Others speculated about Sophia's health without knowing anything about her personal life. Sophia first noticed the change during a charity dinner hosted by Helena. As she walked through the hall greeting guests, she overheard two women speaking in low voices. One of them mentioned that perhaps Sophia might not be able to have children. The words were not said loudly, but they were clear enough to reach her ears. Sophia pretended not to hear and continued smiling politely throughout the evening, but the comment remained in her mind long after the event ended. Michael also began hearing the rumors through business associates and social acquaintances. Some people casually joked that such a powerful family needed an heir to secure its future. Though Michael initially dismissed the gossip, the constant repetition slowly began to affect him. Instead of discussing the issue calmly with Sophia, he allowed doubt to grow quietly in his thoughts. What had started as simple rumors among strangers was slowly becoming a shadow over their marriage. Not long after the rumors began spreading through elite circles, a new presence entered Michael Dawson's professional life. Her name was Mia Bennett, a striking and confident woman who worked in corporate public relations and frequently attended the same networking events as Michael. Mia was intelligent, observant, and very skilled at presenting herself as both charming and ambitious. She understood the social dynamics of powerful business environments and knew how to gain attention from influential people. Michael first spoke with Mia during a corporate networking reception organized for investors and executives. She approached him confidently, complimenting the recent success of Dawson Holdings and praising his leadership. Unlike others who treated him cautiously because of his status, Mia spoke boldly and comfortably. Over time, their conversations became more frequent at similar events. Mia quickly noticed that Michael seemed distracted and frustrated whenever the topic of family or legacy appeared in discussions. One evening, during a quiet moment at a private gathering, Mia carefully steered the conversation toward Michael's personal life. She mentioned hearing rumors circulating about his marriage and the absence of a child. Though her words sounded sympathetic, they quietly strengthened the doubts already growing in Michael's mind. Instead of encouraging patience or understanding, Mia subtly suggested that some women simply could not fulfill certain expectations. Michael did not fully realize how much influence these conversations were beginning to have on him. What seemed like harmless discussions were slowly pushing him further away from the trust he once had in Sophia. As the rumors continued to spread and Mia's words echoed in Michael's mind, the atmosphere in the Dawson mansion began to change. Michael, who had once been patient and affectionate toward Sophia, slowly became distant. He spent longer hours at the office and returned home late most evenings. When they did speak, their conversations were brief and often tense. Sophia noticed the change immediately but struggled to understand what had caused it. Sophia tried many times to speak openly with Michael about the growing distance between them. She reassured him that they could visit a doctor together if there were concerns about starting a family. However, Michael rarely engaged in those discussions. Instead, he avoided the topic or responded with cold silence. Helena Dawson's constant reminders about the need for an heir only made matters worse. The mansion that once felt like a new beginning for Sophia now felt increasingly uncomfortable and lonely. Meanwhile, Michael's interactions with Mia Bennett became more frequent through business events and corporate gatherings. Mia continued presenting herself as someone who understood Michael's frustrations. She often spoke critically about people who could not meet family expectations, reinforcing the idea that Sophia might be the problem. Slowly, Michael allowed those doubts to replace the trust he once had in his wife. The love that had once brought two very different lives together was now beginning to fracture under pressure and misunderstanding. The tension in the Dawson mansion eventually reached a breaking point. One evening, after returning home from work, Michael asked Sophia to sit down with him in the large living room. His expression was serious and distant, very different from the man she had once fallen in love with. Sophia sensed something was wrong immediately. She hoped it would finally be the honest conversation they had avoided for months. Instead, Michael spoke bluntly about the rumors that had been surrounding their marriage. He told Sophia that the Dawson family name required an heir and that the constant gossip about her being unable to have children was damaging his reputation. Sophia was shocked by his words. She reminded him that they had never even taken medical tests to understand what might be causing the delay. She pleaded with him to face the problem together instead of assuming the worst. But Michael had already made his decision. Influenced by pressure from his family and the doubts planted by Mia Bennett, he coldly informed Sophia that he wanted a divorce. Sophia tried to reason with him, her voice filled with disbelief and pain, but Michael refused to change his mind. To him, ending a marriage seemed like the only way to protect his family's legacy. That night, Sophia left the Dawson mansion with a broken heart, carrying only a few belongings and the painful realization that the man she once trusted had abandoned her over rumors that were never proven. Leaving the Dawson mansion was one of the hardest moments of Sophia Donovan's life. For several days after the divorce, she struggled with deep sadness and confusion. The marriage she had believed would last a lifetime had ended abruptly because of rumors she never had the chance to defend herself against. With nowhere else to go, Sophia returned to the small coastal home she once shared with her father. Though the house was simple, it felt comforting and familiar compared to the cold luxury she had left behind. Thomas Donovan welcomed his daughter with quiet understanding. He did not ask many questions at first, knowing she needed time to recover from the pain. Instead, he simply reminded her of the strength she had always carried within her. Sophia slowly returned to working at Harbour Page's bookstore, where Mrs. Eleanor Whitmore and her friend Lily Hart supported her through the difficult transition. Their kindness helped Sophia begin rebuilding her confidence and independence. As weeks passed, Sophia made a decision to focus on herself rather than the painful memories of her failed marriage. She began organizing small literacy programs again for children in nearby communities, just as she had before her life changed. Helping others gave her a sense of purpose and peace. Though she still carried emotional scars from Michael's betrayal, Sophia quietly believed that life was giving her another chance to move forward and discover a new path. Unbeknownst to her, that path would soon lead her into a world far more unexpected than she could have imagined. Several months after Sophia rebuilt her quiet routine at Harbour Pages, the bookstore became involved in a larger national literacy campaign. The program aimed to expand reading resources for children in rural communities, and volunteers across the country were invited to participate. Sophia eagerly joined the project, organizing book donations and coordinating reading sessions for local schools. Her dedication and leadership quickly attracted attention among the organizers. One afternoon, during a special event promoting the campaign in the capital city, Sophia was invited to speak briefly about the importance of literacy programs in small communities. Though she was nervous at first, her words were sincere and heartfelt. She spoke about how books could give children hope and imagination even when their circumstances were difficult. Her speech was simple, but it left a strong impression on the audience. Among those listening was President Daniel Clinton. Known for his calm leadership and thoughtful approach to public service, Daniel had attended the event to support educational initiatives. After Sophia finished speaking, he approached her personally to thank her for her dedication. The conversation was respectful and thoughtful, focused mainly on the literacy program and the challenges many communities faced. Sophia saw him as a leader interested in real solutions, while Danielle noticed the quiet strength and compassion behind her words. Neither of them realized that this brief meeting would soon grow into something far more meaningful. After their first meeting at the literacy campaign event, President Daniel Clinton found himself thinking about Sophia Donovan's dedication and sincerity. Unlike many people he encountered in political circles, Sophia spoke without ambition or expectation. Her focus was entirely on helping others. A few weeks later, Daniel invited several volunteers from the literacy program to a small discussion meeting at the presidential residence to explore ways the government could support community education projects. Sophia was among those invited. During the meeting, Sophia shared practical ideas about creating mobile libraries and community reading centers in small towns. Daniel listened carefully to her suggestions and asked thoughtful questions about how such programs could be organized. The conversation between them was professional, yet comfortable. Sophia appreciated Daniel's willingness to listen rather than simply deliver speeches, while Daniel admired the quiet determination that guided Sophia's work. Over time, Sophia was occasionally invited to similar discussions related to community programs. Each meeting allowed Daniel to learn more about her character. He discovered her past struggles, her commitment to helping children, and the strength she had shown in rebuilding her life after hardship. Their interactions remained respectful and focused on shared goals, but a natural trust slowly developed between them. Both of them valued honesty and compassion, qualities that created a calm understanding neither had expected to find. As months passed, Sophia and President Daniel Clinton continued working together on several community education initiatives. Their meetings often focused on improving literacy programs, organizing book drives, and expanding opportunities for children in underserved areas. Through these collaborations, Daniel began seeing more of Sophia's character beyond her professional dedication. She remained humble despite the recognition her work was receiving, and she never sought attention or personal gain from her efforts. Sophia also came to understand Daniel beyond his public image as a national leader. In private conversations, she saw a thoughtful and patient man who genuinely cared about the people he served. Daniel spoke about the challenges of leadership and the responsibility he felt toward the country. Sophia listened with empathy, offering simple yet sincere perspectives that Daniel rarely heard from those around him. Their conversations became longer and more personal over time. Eventually, their connection grew deeper than professional respect. Daniel admired Sophia's strength and resilience, especially after learning about the painful end of her previous marriage. Sophia, in turn, appreciated Daniel's calm wisdom and kindness. Because Daniel held such a visible position, they both understood that any personal relationship would attract intense public attention. To protect their privacy and avoid unnecessary controversy, they chose to keep their growing feelings quiet, allowing their bond to develop away from the public eye. As time passed, the connection between Sophia Donovan and President Daniel Clinton grew stronger. What had begun as mutual respect through their work gradually turned into a deep emotional bond. Daniel admired Sophia not only for her compassion, but also for the quiet strength she carried after the hardships she had faced. Sophia, in turn, felt a sense of peace around Daniel that she had not experienced in years. Their relationship developed slowly and thoughtfully, built on trust rather than excitement. Because Daniel's position placed him constantly in the public eye, both of them understood that any announcement of their relationship would immediately attract intense media attention. Daniel did not want Sophia to be dragged into public speculation or criticism, especially after everything she had already endured. After many careful discussions, they decided to keep their relationship private. Only a very small circle of trusted individuals knew about their bond. Eventually, Daniel asked Sophia to marry him. The proposal was simple and sincere, far from the grand celebrations of her previous wedding. They chose to hold a quiet and private ceremony attended by only a few witnesses who respected their wish for privacy. The marriage remained secret from the public, allowing Sophia to continue her peaceful life and charitable work without unwanted attention. For the first time since her painful divorce, Sophia felt that she had truly found stability, respect, and genuine love. Not long after their quiet marriage, Sophia began noticing small changes in her health. At first, she dismissed them as simple exhaustion from her busy schedule managing literacy programs and community events. However, Daniel encouraged her to visit a trusted physician just to be certain everything was fine. The visit seemed routine, but the results brought news that Sophia had never expected. The doctor confirmed that Sophia was pregnant. The moment was overwhelming for her. For years she had carried the painful label of being unable to have children, a rumor that had destroyed her previous marriage. Now she sat quietly in the doctor's office hearing the words she once believed she might never hear. When Daniel received the news, his reaction was filled with calm joy and gratitude. He reassured Sophia that this new chapter of their lives would be protected and cherished. Further medical examinations revealed something even more surprising: Sophia was expecting twins. The news filled both of them with excitement and careful hope. Because Daniel was still serving as president and their marriage remained private, they decided to keep the pregnancy confidential for the time being. Only a small group of trusted medical professionals and close aides were aware of the situation. While the world continued moving normally outside, Sophia quietly prepared for motherhood, unaware that her future would soon cross paths again with the past she thought she had left behind. Several months later, the capital city prepared for one of the most prestigious events of the year, the Presidential Gala, an elegant gathering attended by influential leaders, business executives, diplomats, and notable figures from across the country. The event celebrated national achievements and charitable contributions. Among the invited guests was Michael Dawson, who had recently expanded Dawson Holdings and was eager to strengthen his connections with political leaders and investors. Michael arrived at the Grand Hall with Mia Bennett by his side. Mia enjoyed the attention that came with attending such elite events, moving confidently among the guests as photographers captured the evening's highlights. As the night progressed, Michael noticed someone he never expected to see again: Sophia Donovan. She had arrived quietly at the gala, dressed elegantly and carrying herself with calm confidence. The sight of his former wife surprised him, and Mia quickly recognized her from past gossip. When Michael approached Sophia, his tone carried the same arrogance that had ended their marriage. In front of several nearby guests, he mockingly referred to the rumors that had once surrounded her, suggesting that she was still unable to have children. His words were meant to embarrass her publicly, and Mia watched with a faint, approving smile. But before Sophia could respond, the atmosphere in the hall shifted. President Daniel Clinton stepped forward and stood beside her, placing a protective hand near her as two young twin children stood close to them. The quiet revelation stunned everyone nearby. Michael froze in disbelief as he realized the truth. Sophia was not alone, and the family standing beside her was connected to the most powerful man in the country. The moment at the gala lingered in Michael Dawson's mind long after the event ended. The image of Sophia standing calmly beside President Daniel Clinton, with the twins close to them, refused to leave his thoughts. For years, Michael had believed the rumors that Sophia could not have children. He had repeated those rumors himself and used them as justification for ending their marriage. Yet what he witnessed at the gala contradicted everything he thought he knew. Days later, troubled by confusion and growing doubt, Michael decided to quietly consult a medical specialist. He convinced himself that perhaps there had been some misunderstanding or unusual circumstance. The tests were simple, but the results were direct and undeniable. The doctor explained calmly that Michael suffered from a medical condition that made it impossible for him to father children naturally. The news left Michael stunned. For a long time he sat silently in the doctor's office, realizing the painful truth. The rumors he had believed about Sophia had never been proven, yet he had accepted them without question. Worse still, he had allowed those rumors to destroy his marriage. The realization brought a deep sense of regret and embarrassment. Michael finally understood that the problem had never been Sophia. The truth he had just discovered changed everything he believed about the past. Not long after Michael Dawson received the medical results confirming his infertility, the fragile relationship he had built with Mia Bennett began to unravel. For years, Mia had stayed close to Michael because of his wealth, influence, and the powerful future she believed came with being connected to the Dawson name. She had always imagined herself eventually becoming the woman who would give the Dawson family its long-awaited heir. That dream had quietly motivated many of her decisions. When Michael finally revealed the truth to her during a private conversation at his penthouse, Mia listened in stunned silence. At first she believed there must have been some mistake in the medical report. But as Michael explained the doctor's confirmation and the details of his condition, the reality slowly settled in. The future Mia had imagined no longer existed. The powerful family legacy she once hoped to be part of suddenly seemed uncertain. Over the following days, Mia's behavior changed noticeably. Her once constant calls and visits became rare. Invitations to social events that she previously attended proudly beside Michael were politely declined. Eventually, Mia stopped answering his messages altogether. Within weeks, she quietly left the city and accepted a new position in another country. Without confrontation or farewell, she disappeared from Michael's life as quickly as she had entered it, leaving him alone to face the consequences of the decisions he had made. In the weeks following the presidential gala, news slowly began circulating through political and social circles about Sophia Donovan's connection to President Daniel Clinton. What had once been a quiet, private marriage could no longer remain completely hidden after the public moment at the gala. Though the couple still valued their privacy, trusted media outlets eventually confirmed that Sophia had been working closely with national literacy programs and had quietly become an important partner in many of Daniel's charitable initiatives. Sophia continued focusing on her work with education programs and community projects, but her life had undeniably changed. She was now a devoted mother to twins and the wife of one of the most respected leaders in the country. Despite the sudden attention surrounding her life, Sophia remained the same compassionate person she had always been. She avoided public drama and never spoke negatively about her past. Instead, she chose to focus on raising her children and continuing the work she loved. Meanwhile, Michael Dawson lived with the heavy realization of the truth he had discovered. The rumors he once believed had cost him the marriage he once had with Sophia. The woman he had mocked publicly for being barren was now living a fulfilled life, surrounded by love, family, and respect. Though his business empire remained strong, Michael understood that success and wealth could never replace the trust and kindness he had once taken for granted. Sophia had moved forward into a brighter future, while Michael was left reflecting on the painful consequences of his own choices. And that brings us to the end of today's story. The world of luxury often hides stories deeper than what meets the eye. If you enjoyed this story, be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more captivating stories on luxury jewel life stories. Until our next story, take care and stay tuned for more.